Alrighty. Cool. Thanks for your patience, guys. Hey, yeah, we had a few internet issues and then we realized we had a computer issue. So we're all good now, though. Jacko, big thanks for jumping on the call. For those that don't know Jackson or have never seen Jackson, where do I start? Jackson is the person we are forever, ever grateful and indebted to for introducing us to Isagenix. Completely changed our lives. Um, he has been just one of the most amazing people in our lives. And as far as building the business goes, I think what I love and I'm really hope that you guys get from Jackson is that he keeps it so simple and so duplicatable, and he has so much to share. He's so willing to give and give and give. We could go on with all the accolades. Millionaire in, what did it take you, Jacko? Under 2.5 years. He's just broken into being seven-figure annual income earner. Isagenix Man of the Year. Cat lover. As the cat walks across the screen, cat lover. Just a genuinely phenomenal guy. So we love having you on our calls. I know everyone's super excited. So big welcome, mate.
Thank you. I'm trying not to let there be cat bum in the camera, so keeping
That's
it
all
PG.
good. That's a mate tonight. That's going to be the
Keeping
photo. It won't
it
be
PG.
cat's ears. It'll be cat's bums for the photo tonight. We'll see what happens. Mate, just I know there's a few. Just out of curiosity, just raise your hand, guys, if you've never seen Jackson present or speak or share before. So most people have seen. Majority of people have seen Jackson in some form or other, but I don't know, Jacko, if you could just real quick share your story. I'm sure people will be able to find it online if they Google it, but real quick share your story and then why you started building Isagenix, and then we'll get it right into it.
Yeah. My 2-minute, less than 2-minute story is I was one of those people that said no to Isagenix. At first, I said no to it for 2 years. Huge skeptic, thought it sounded too good to be true. What a load of crap, all that kind of stuff. So I was kind of approached and told about it 2 years prior to when I started. I was 23 at the time, so timing is everything. Carmen Rumsey taught me that, and I just wasn't ready. And I'm glad I didn't say yes, because I would have said yes. I wouldn't have been ready, probably got my money back and thought that crap is crap. Fast forward 2 years later, I was 25. I was working 2 jobs, and my main job, I was a warehouse worker. So I was a forklift driver, picker packer. I was making minimum wage, and then I was having to work a second job just to kind of not get ahead, but just to tread water, it felt like. And had some life things happen, and I kind of hit rock bottom, and it made me realize that, that saying, nothing will change if you don't change. I kind of just realized if I don't make a significant change, this is going to be my life for the rest of my life, just like everyone else around me. So I saw, I do CrossFit. I don't know if you guys know what CrossFit is, but I saw a status came up from my CrossFit boxer I know who I'd never met, but we were just Facebook friends, and they said something along the lines of they can't believe they made more part-time this week than they did full-time, and that obviously immediately grabbed my attention. And I messaged them. I said, "What are you doing?" They said it was Isagenix. I was like, "Oh, not that crap." I've already been there, heard that, and she kind of hit me with, do you know what Isagenix is, or do you think you know what it is? And that kind of hit me square between the eyes. She invited me over to a launch party, so I went over, watched the videos. They all made sense, agreed with it all, looks great, but it still wasn't enough for me, because $590 for me back then, that was just so much money, and so I still wasn't ready to do it. And then she finally told me about the money back guarantee, which I didn't know about. And then once I learned it had that, I said, hell yes, let's give it a shot. And yeah, that's how I got started. Rest is history. Hello, Alan, you're muted. rookie.
Sorry, man.
You prefer it that way, right?
That's probably better. Jacko, you started sharing fairly early on, and like you treated this very, very quickly. You knew that the opportunity that you had. Two things I want to know was, one is what really, like, why did you go really, really after this? And secondly, what did you actually do? Because there's a lot of people on this call that like, I really want this, I want it bad, but they're still in that, hey, what do I actually do? That's sort of like in their own mindset of like, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Am I doing the right things? What did you do to be able to create the freedom that you've been able to create now?
Yeah, so what kind of made me, I didn't, it's hard to explain. It's one of those weird things where if you would have asked me, hey, do you think this is going to fail? I'd say obviously no, otherwise why would I have started? But in the same sentence, if you would have put me on a lie detector test and asked, Jackson, is this going to succeed for you? I would have said probably no as well. So I was like really in the no man's land. I didn't think it would happen because it's just crazy to think, but I also knew it would not happen. So that was where I was at. I didn't see it from the word go. But even though that was where my mindset was at, because of the money back guarantee, that's what kind of made me feel like I'm an idiot if I don't share with this. Because when I kind of learned that the worst case scenario is I share with Alan. If he does it and he doesn't like it for whatever reason, he gets all his money back, no questions asked, and I keep the money I made. When I learned that was like the worst case scenario, that was for me just the no-brainer of, man, I've got to let people know what this is all about. In terms of what I was doing early on, to paint the picture for you guys, I would, my typical day would be I'd wake up at 5, leave the house at 5:30, do CrossFit to get to the gym at 6. I'd do CrossFit from 6 to 7. I'd then shower and stretch at the gym and go from the gym straight to work, get there at 8. I'd work 8 till 3. Then I'd do half an hour of overtime every day because I needed it. And then I'd go from work to the park to train one of my partner's girlfriends for an hour for a cashy, because that extra $50 a day was literally the difference between drowning and treading water. I'd get home at about 6. I'd eat. And then from 6:30 to like 9, 9:30, 10, I'd do Isagenix and I'd wake up and I'd go all over again. So that was what my life looked like. So, and then on the weekends, I worked Saturdays in the mornings, just I needed extra money. And then weekends, that was when I really built my business, was on the weekends. But what Adam was chatting about this last night, but what I was basically doing if I had 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, I was just literally reaching out to people. So Michael Klaus always teaches you've got your left leg and your right leg. Your left leg is your action taking and your right leg is your learning, your training. I did all my right leg, all my learning, my training in the car. So when I was driving to work, from one job to the other, that was the only time I would listen to a call, listen to a podcast, listen to, isagenixpodcast.com, isagenixbusiness.com, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, because I didn't have much time. So I didn't want to get home and then sit on my couch and listen to something when I could have done in my car. So all my training, and when you add that up, I was like training myself at least, probably around 10 hours a week. I was literally training, but that 10 hours, I wasn't changing anything in my life except instead of memorizing Eminem lyrics and 50 Cent lyrics that were getting me nowhere in life, I was starting to memorize Lynn Hagedorn, Michael Klaus, Herb Cepeda, Jen Patch, all these people. So that's where I found all my time to train. And then when I got home, that was my left leg. And that was when I was putting into practice everything I'd learned that day or that week. And the majority of it, still to this day, but definitely back then when I didn't obviously have a team, was just literally reaching out to people, communicating with them, connecting with them, finding creative ways where Isagenix would come up in the conversation So then I would be able to throw them a little bit, mention what I'm doing. If they're interested, they'd ask more. If they're not interested, change the subject, all that kind of stuff. So that was what I did majority. It's still what I do the majority now, but definitely that was literally all I did.
Wow.
That's awesome. And social media wise, you built a lot of your business on social media, right, Jacko? Or at least not necessarily built it, but like you've communicated using social media. Like, what was your strategy around social media from the get-go, or what you learnt quickly, I suppose, very, very quickly? And like for everybody on this call, whether they're, in particular, obviously if they're new, but as a great reminder for the people that are not new, what are some of the things that you quickly learnt you should do and you shouldn't do on social media? Or for you, that work for you. Obviously, it is different for everyone, but like for you anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've used social media. I think social media is why we're all doing Isagenix or network marketing right now. Network marketing is nothing new. It's been an amazing opportunity for decades, but why in 2017 it's the thing to do now? I believe it's social media because we're all so connected now. This Zoom call falls under social media because we're all able to get on a call and connect for free. So I've used social media as just my Facebook page. I don't have ads or anything like that, but I use my do's and don'ts. What I learned was I'm a big believer, because it's worked for me, of the, not blasting Isagenix all in your face on your Facebook. Not because I'm hiding it or I'm ashamed of it. Obviously, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. But the reason I believe and why it's worked for me and works for people I coach is curiosity creates conversation and conversation creates connection. And that's what this entire business is about, connection. And I just found, because at the start I didn't know any better, so you better believe when my Isagenix box rocked up, I took a photo of it and I posted it because I didn't know any better. I hadn't done my training yet. But it's hard to connect with someone when they just see a brown box and they go Google it or whatever it is. They ask their uncle about it, blah, blah, blah. But when you're a bit mysterious with everything and, curiosity killed the cat, and you're able to create that curiosity and people are thinking, far out, what's Jackson doing? What's he doing? I can't do it anymore. I need to know what he's doing. And they call me or they text me or they message me. That's when I'm able to connect with them. So that was a big do for me.
I love that. What did you say before? What was your wording? Curiosity creates connection. Curiosity creates conversation. Conversation creates connection. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I think someone taught me that. That's definitely not mine.
Claim
someone
it.
else taught me that.
First time I've heard it. Claim it.
No. If I claimed it, people know that's too clever for me. So yeah, that's a big thing with social media. And the other thing I kind of learned very quickly, or I'm glad I learned quickly, was Facebook is much more, using Facebook to grow your business. It's much more than, all right, I'm going to make a post tonight. If someone inboxes me tonight, it's a success. If someone doesn't inbox me tonight, it's a failure. And I saw it's a much more bigger picture than that. If someone inboxes you after before and after or whatever, like that's just a bonus, but that's not how I understood social media. Social media is our way to always be planting seeds, drip feeding, planting the seed. So when one day, when that person, like for health reasons, they catch themselves in the mirror in a certain light, someone says a smart ass remark to them, their partner mentions something to them, their kids are too honest with them, something like that happens in their life, and then instantly they think, I need to speak to Jackson because I can't do this anymore. And they're reaching out to me not because of a particular post, but because I've been so consistent with it that I'm the first thing that comes to mind when weight loss, health, energy, fitness, stuff like that comes up. And then same with business. If it happened, great. And I guess numbers would say it would happen from time to time, but it's not, you make like a business post, a power post. It's the same thing. It's not a success if someone inboxes you that night saying, sign me up, I want to be the next millionaire. And it's a failure if no one does. It's Same thing when a time comes in their life where they've just had enough from their boss, or they look at their bank statement and it hits reality, like it did for me when I hit rock bottom. All these different examples. Same thing. If I've been consistent with Facebook enough, I want to be the first thing someone thinks about when someone thinks about a better way, another vehicle, a new option, earning extra money, traveling more, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I've used Facebook. It's not about posting something and getting an immediate result. It's about being so consistent with it so I've been doing this 3.5, nearly 4 years now, and I'll still have people randomly message me saying, all right, what is it? The health of business. And it's like, I didn't make an Isagenix post in the last 2 days, yet they're messaging me on that day. It's not because they saw a post, it's because something's happened in their life to think, I need to reach out to Jackson.
Love that, Jacko. Before I hand over for Larry, he's got a bunch of questions there for you as well. Just one thing on that.
Yeah.
I know you shared this recently as well, is that obviously that branding strategy for you has been amazing. However, you didn't just rely on people finally messaging you. And I know you talked about this, how you went and you literally didn't assume, didn't take anything for granted. You went and you connected with every single person you had on Facebook, every single person you could think of. So doing that, can you sort of just guide everyone through exactly what you did and how did you do that? Because you would have had people that were like your best friends. You would have had people that you couldn't even probably remember. You had people that were probably somewhere in between. Like, how did you actually message them, get into the conversation? Like, just take us through some of that kind of stuff, which is that real back to the basics of connecting.
Yeah, easy. So the story where I kind of learned and started to master this, I guess, was I was at an event. I can't remember which one it was. And I was, trying to grow my business. And I think it was Paul McInerney was on stage, and he started talking about, someone gave him the microphone, and he started talking about how, for him for those that don't know, Paul and his wife were our second ever millionaires in Australia. And now I think we're at 20 something. But he started talking about how for him and his wife, it just feels like people are falling out of the sky. And I remember sitting in the crowd, I'm like, well, good for you, mate, but how does that freaking help me? I'm very happy for you, but I need to experience that. And I soon discovered how you create that feeling is if you are great with your Facebook, well, you don't have to be great. Like, you just have to be consistent with it. So if you're really consistent with your Facebook over time, you will start to get people coming to you. And if you've got that, so if you've got people coming to you and you're also in the same breath reaching out to people, that's when I finally experienced what Paul was talking about, where people are falling out of the sky. I literally don't have enough time to talk to everyone today, and that's an amazing kind of problem to have. So that's what you want to go for. That's how you create that feeling of, and that reality of, there's not enough time in the day to speak to everyone that's interested in Isagenix. It's by having them come to you, but also going to them. How I started reaching out to people was my first, I guess, tier of people, or first step was, because of the money back guarantee, I just wrote down a list of everyone that I thought would trust me enough to try this risk-free kind of thing, that kind of relationship. I didn't matter if they were who they were or whatever. I just believe they would trust me enough to do that. And I went crystal manager and signed up 5 people before my box arrived because of that. I didn't have my results. I didn't even have my box yet, but it was, hey guys, I've been saying no to this thing for 2 years, but these results, I'm sick and tired of seeing everyone looking better than I am. I'm doing it. It's got a money back guarantee. Let's do this together. Would you trust me enough to kind of do this with me? We'll see at the end if we want our money back. Like, that was the first kind of conversations I was having. And then from there, basically the next step, and still what I'm doing to this day, is I literally went to my Facebook friends. I went to and I went to the first person, and I thought, well, let me say this. So the thing the trial and error that I did was I just started reaching out to people. Hey, how are you? How's things? Hey, how are you? How's things? Hey, man, I haven't spoken to you in 15 years. How are you? And I did that kind of generic reach out because I didn't know any better. And my feedback that I got was not many people were replying. And if they did, it was like a one-word reply back, and it was very hard to have an exciting conversation with them. So, but that's the only way you learn anything in this business. If you've got to do it yourself, so you get that feedback. And so once I got that feedback, I realized, okay, I need to reach out to these people, but I need a different approach. So then my two approaches were, I wanted to feel like I was coming to them with something. Like when I was just reaching out to someone, hey, how are you? How's things? I wasn't coming to them with anything. So that was my next mission. I want to reach out to this person, but I want to have like value, or I want to have a reason why I'm messaging them. And so a few things I tried was either I would just think of something I could bring up in conversation right away, like if it was sport or there was an event coming up or something like that. If I couldn't think of that, I'll use Alan, your example, in a sec. If I couldn't think of that, I would go on their Facebook and I would do a bit of a creep, and I would look for something that I could come to them with. So if they had posted a funny video, I'd watch it, and then I'd reach out to them. Hey, Al, man, I just watched that crazy cat video you posted. That cat eating ice cream, I just lost it. How have you been? Or, things like that. Or if Alan had checked into the movies, hey man, Alan, how's things? I saw you went and saw Beauty and the Beast, you big girl. No, but I'd be like, how was it? My partner really wants to go. Is it worth me going? So I'd look for reasons to message these people, not just, hey, how are you going? And that works so well because I know if I get a message right now even though I'm a network marketer, if I get a message from someone right now that I haven't spoken to in a long ass time, hey Jackson, how are you? First thing that comes to mind is what do they want? What do they want? And that's how I was probably coming off to other people. But when I reach out to them about the movie or the video they've just posted or the trip, whatever, it could be obviously a billion different things. They're not thinking, what does Jackson want? They're thinking, oh, he watched my video. Oh, he saw him at blah, 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 blah. If they don't have, if they're not very good with Facebook and I haven't really posted anything, my other kind of go-to was obviously hopefully if you're Facebook friends with them, you'd know them for some particular reason. And I would just try and think of our best memory together and I'd message them with that. So, hey, I was just thinking of that time when we were in Malaysia and we're eating street food. I can't believe we didn't get food poisoning. How have you been, man? And same thing, he's not thinking, what does Jackson want? He's probably laughing, thinking of the same memory. And then we're into a more, not genuine is the right word, but authentic conversation. So those were some things I would just do to get in conversation with them.
So then the key...
Yeah, did that answer the question?
It does.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
massively.
But then also taking it from there, what people want to know and they keep asking is, how do you then move the conversation into Isagenix? Do you move it, or are you direct? What do you do?
Yep. So I haven't been direct with that many people. There are a few. So Samuel Davies, he's 5-star crystal exec for me. He was, Samuel, I've just ordered this thing. Give me a credit card. We're going to do it together. But because I have a relationship, he said yes. But that's not really my personality. I'm very laid back. So it's rare that I'm direct. I really love like the long game and the slow approach. And even though I believe my way takes longer and takes more work and effort, I also believe it gets you better results. So I think it's worth it. And that's why I do it. I like to almost have them think that they brought it up, if that makes sense. So a few things I use to get Isagenix up in the conversation, and I don't really want it to happen. I actually knew you asked me this. I got a screenshot I'll read to you in a sec. But I use law of reciprocation. So I know if I ask, and I hate talking about myself. So I love just asking questions about people. And I know eventually human nature, they're going to get so uncomfortable that all we're doing is talking about them, that there's going to be a switch that goes off inside them that, far out, we just spoke about me. I'm so rude. Jackson, what are you doing? What's new with you? Blah, 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 blah. So I use that as a big one. The other one is I just use questions to, I guess, control the conversation. So you can ask questions like, hey, how's the weather? How's that daylight savings? They're all questions, but it could go anywhere. But when you're asking specific, so Uber drivers are the easiest. So if I jump into an Uber and I'm asking them about the weather, daylight savings changing, Donald Trump, they're great questions, I guess, but
never bring
Isagenix, I guess, could come up. Also Isagenix could not. But when I jump in the car and I am 2-3 steps ahead of the questions I'm asking, and I'm like, hey man, how's your day been? How long have you been doing Uber? Do you enjoy doing Uber? Is Uber what you want to do the rest of your life? Do you have another job? What got you into Uber? I'm obviously leading it down a path where I know Isagenix could come up in conversation, because I'm obviously leading it down the path of earning extra income, things like that. But I'm in control of the conversation because I'm asking these specific questions. So if he says he loves Uber, I mean, great, good on him, but chances are he's not going to love Uber. So I'm already 2 steps ahead. I know once he says he doesn't enjoy Uber, I'm going to ask him, what else is he doing for extra income? Because Uber drivers aren't rocking it. If he says he's not doing anything, I know to ask him, hey, are you looking for new ways? If he says he is doing anything, I'll ask him about that, etc. So questions, like asking powerful questions to get powerful answers, and asking specific questions in a category where Isagenix has a solution. Law of reciprocation. And then also what I found is just, I don't know if it's law of attraction or if it's, I can't explain it, but I used to play a game. I remember the office in my old house, I used to play it, and it's just so vivid to me. I used to play a game in my head. All right, how long is it going to be before they bring up their weight, their energy, money, travel, hating their boss, not fitting in their clothes, new gym routine, new diet? I used to play a game in my head. How long is it going to be until they bring it up? And it would always blow my mind how soon it would bring up. And this was a screenshot I had said. So I connected with last week I flew back from Parr, chatting to the flight attendant. She was awesome. She went to the bathroom. I saw she was on the back studying. She was like doing some work on a computer. So I asked her, it's like, Jackson, how did you connect with a flight attendant? So get your pen and paper ready. I asked, hey, what are you doing? And and she was like, oh, I'm studying leadership. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Why are you studying that? And she told me about, she's a 27-year-old, but she's in charge of 350 people at the air. She's a gun. So anyway, I connected with her on Facebook. Same thing, Jackson, how did you connect her on Facebook? I asked her, hey, do you have Facebook? So it's
that is simple.
It's that simple. And so I've been chatting to her. We've been chatting for about a week now. She doesn't know what I do. She doesn't know Isagenix. She knows nothing, because I'm just all in her grill about what she does, what excites her, what she loves, and just building a friendship with her. Because why I love prospecting is, I think David Wood teaches us where it's like, you'll never know who's going to become your new best friend, or you'll never know when you'll need someone. So this girl, she might not do Isagenix, but she might link me to someone, or she might be able to help me in 5 years' time with something else, or I might be able to help her with something in 2 years' time. You never know. That's the exciting bit about meeting new people. But I asked her, blah, 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 asking questions, getting to know each other, just building a relationship. I'm like, look, tell me about you. What do you love? What excites you? This is her reply. I love, and just think, if Isagenix, and this is my game of, I wonder how long it's going to take before someone mentions those things. Like, get your timer out. I love working out, anything fitness and health. I love working for big brand and doing my own things to one day contribute to how I'll have my own business. I love traveling and doing new stuff. I love food. I love healthy eating. I love acai bowls. I love gelato. I love girls' trips, traveling with my 3 best friends, letting loose for a weekend everywhere in the world. I love watching TED Talks, blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, most people like that. If you just, well, not all of them, but I just ask, and obviously they give you that response. And same thing, I didn't go, oh man, I've got the thing for you. I'm saving that, because once I feel I have that connection with her, man, do you remember when you said you loved XYZ? Well, I don't know if it's for you or not, but what I do, I think you'd be freaking perfect for it. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I do with most people. I just connect with them. I find something, and it doesn't take long. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that does it. I'm sure you guys, when you're talking to someone and they mention one of those things, like your brain goes off. You're like, oh my God, alarm starts ringing, far out. They'd be perfect. So I'm sure we all do it. And that's how I connect with people and actually get Isagenix up in the conversation.
That's awesome. I love that line. I've heard you say it a few times, the whole, it may or may not be for you, but, you know, I think it gives people the out. And the other thing, you know, people wonder whether they should jump on the opportunity to say something straight away. Like, she's just told you, basically, she's ticked every box for Isagenix, really, right? But you're not jumping on it straight away. You're just keeping the conversation going and growing the relationship first. And look, that's my approach too. And look, there's other ways people do it, but I think it's great, and it's really beneficial for everyone to hear your way of doing it. So it's great. Thank you.
Can you also, on that, Jacko, can you also share a little bit like we were talking last night, is for some of these people on here, how you actually ended up prospecting me, even though it evolved differently, like what that game was from your point of view. People have heard us share the story, but from your point of view, actually prospecting, not knowing, you didn't know that we were going to take off in this business, et cetera, but how you prospected. Because I think that's another massive way, as we were saying last night, a lot of people are not prospecting because they're fearful of who certain people are, or they're making an assumption that they wouldn't be interested, or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah. So Alan, I reached out to Alan because his name starts with A. And
Aaron
I was just going.
Aaron Catch Blackburn, if you were friends with Jacko, you would have been enrolled before me.
Yes.
His catches. I want to see it.
That's hilarious. I'm like, you duplicated that, Jacko, because I'm, you know, Hilsinger was one of the first people I reached out to. He said it was because he had a lot of love and respect for me. Now I find out the real truth.
It can be both. It can be both. Let me just let my cat in. Come on. So how I prospected Alan was I knew Alan, but I didn't know Alan. But what I didn't know, because I scrolled through his Facebook, and at the time he had a business with ADU. It was like a basketball touring through Asia thing. And so, you know how I was showing with you guys before, I want to come to them with something. I just don't want to, like, it would have been weird if I just messaged Alan, hey Alan, how you going, mate? He would be thinking, what does he want? So I saw that he
Aaron
was,
and other people before he got to AL.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't have a double A.
Yeah. And so I saw that he had Malay, Asian ties and things like that. So I had, who is it? Eric Worre says in his GoPro book, and it's actually probably what I'm going to do with this girl here, is he says he believes the most powerful line or the powerful way is when you compliment someone and ask them, I want to get this right for you. He asks them not to sign up, but like ask them for their advice or their guidance or a referral from them. And so my thing to Alan was, it wasn't, hey, Alan, you'd be great at this with your Asian connections. My thing with Alan was like, Alan, like I can see you've got a successful business in Asia. Like that's freaking incredible. Could I take you out for coffee or whatever I said and pick your brain and see how I could maybe take my business, which I've just started and I love, and have success with it in Asia. And Eric Worre believes that's the greatest way you could ever prospect someone, because you're hitting all their buttons, you're stroking their ego, like, and you're not lying, like it's true. But it's very hard for someone to say, nah. Well, you know, once you do that to them, it's not. And he also thinks it's a win-win, because what didn't happen, Alan eventually signed up for the products because we didn't end up meeting. But if Alan would have met up with me, it would have been a win-win for me. He would have given me some awesome advice, which I would have then went and used, or he would have looked at it and thought, far out, I want to do this. And so it would have been a win-win either way. But we didn't meet up for that reason. A few months later, Larry saw the before and afters, and they came in for the health side, which was cool.
And just the real kicker here was you didn't stop following me up either. It wasn't like you sent a message and it was like 4 months later, Larry's gone and seen the photo and gone, you know what, we really need to do something different. Go and have a chat to Jacko. You followed me up on numerous times. I remember you at some point tagging me. I'm pretty sure it was a tag in one of the crazy Malaysian posts from when I coached you in Malaysia. And there was little follow-ups that now, when we rewind it back, you played it absolutely textbook.
And for the Facebook people, so Alan and Larry, as you may or might know the story, Larry was on Alan's Facebook one day, who knows how, and saw a before and after come up. And that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have been following up, because how the algorithms work is, as you guys know, imagine how many Facebook friends you have right now. Some of you have 100, some of you have 1,000. You obviously don't get every single one of those people's Facebook posts on your wall, right? So how Facebook algorithms work are, you get the posts of people that you're interacting with. So because I kept following up with Alan, interacting with him, tagging him in Facebook memories and stuff like that, it made my Facebook and Alan's Facebook relevant to each other. So that's why my posts were coming up on his wall. If I wasn't following up with him or keeping that relationship going, then Larry would have jumped on Alan's Facebook. It wouldn't have been showing my before and after. It would have been showing someone else that he's been talking to.
Love it. I hope you guys, I don't know if you guys are on this call, if you're taking stuff away, are you guys getting some amazing stuff around how Jackson actually connects and how authentically he connects? Just type away. Anyway,
I'll say yes.
Larry.
I'm seeing the nods. Well, Jackson's been so awesome. He's kind of like answered all our questions. But can I throw a different one at you instead? Because I know you're awesome at launch parties, right? And that's initially, it was my understanding that you actually did, when you did become Crystal Manager, that was through a launch party, or maybe you had some people pre-commit before they came along to learn about it and maybe taste the products. But there's lots of people doing launch parties. Could you give us some advice on launch parties and the power of them and how they've helped even people in your businesses grow their business?
And the funny part is, I remember, sorry, just jumping in on you there, I remember in that first, when we started building this business, in that first 6 months, we traveled to some random places together to do some launch parties. We were out in Toowoomba, we were out
Dolby,
somewhere west. We went to Dolby. We went everywhere doing launch parties, and it really did duplicate. So sorry, man, I just didn't mean to interrupt.
No, do you remember, side note, remember that one we did for Jess Otto back in the day? Remember that?
Yeah.
Inside joke. So, launch party. So yeah, how I became Crystal Manager before my boxer ride was I went to a launch party on Sunday. Eventually gave him my details. I said, you're doing this at my house tomorrow night. And I got on the phone and or messaged or whoever and got those people that trust me enough, look, come over tomorrow night. I want you to see what I'm doing. I want you to just see if it's for you or not. You don't have to do it, but just, I want you to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And same thing, I think 6 people came, 5 of them signed up, and 2 of them are now 6-figure income earners.
Wow.
And it was before my box arrived. So yeah, launch parties are awesome because as you know, as I shared like my typical day, I didn't have much time. So I saw launch parties as like, well, I could have 10 different conversations at 10 different times with people, or I could have 10 conversations at once. And I've had conversations. I've had launch parties where no one's come multiple times. I've had a launch party where one person came, and now they're a 3-star crystal exec. So, and I've had ones where people couldn't see the TV. They had to sit in the living room. So there's a wide spectrum, but the point, just like Facebook, it's just all about that consistency.
What's a Jackson Parr launch party look like these days? Like what's the typical duplication process that's happening for you within your launch parties? I know that's a question that we get often, and it's like, I know there's no right or wrong, but what's it look like?
Yeah. So I was in Perth. I flew to Perth. You don't have to do this extreme, but I just want a reason to go to Perth. I went to Perth and did 2 launch parties last weekend, and it was actually the best. I had cried. I've never cried at a launch party before, but I cried. It was the best. And we had 6 people from that launch party. Because of that launch party, then just go to ICU this past weekend in Perth. So that was how awesome it was. And this was what it was. It was get your pen and paper. It was me and the host. We kind of did it together. We just welcomed everyone, thanked everyone for coming. She shared what Isagenix has done for her and why she invited everyone, addressing why is everyone here. She shared her before and after in her little 30-second story. At launch parties, I make them like a minute. And we had 2 others do that. So we had 3 to 4, I think it was 3. It was 3 to 4 testimonies. We then said, look, this video we're about to play is going to explain it better than we can. We played Why Isagenix. Thank you guys so much for coming. Tonight was all just about letting you guys know what this is all about and what this can do. We're going to take a 10-15 minute break, ask questions, come and eat these bars before I have to finish the plate. And then after about 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to go into the business side. And if you want to learn how to get your products paid for or earn extra $100 a week, extra $1,000 a week, you're more than welcome to stay. If it's not for you, that's totally cool. Again, just thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And then we gave them 10-15 minutes. No one left, but I love giving people the option. I don't want people to ever feel like we've ambushed them. And so I've been ambushed. But I loved it because I'm a Sharks fan, and it was Matty Rogers ambushing me. So I wasn't that mad. But give people the option to leave if they're not interested in the money. Usually no one does. And then after the 10 to 15 minute break, I just went over the you share, they share, repeat. And then I went through how cycles work, because cycles is residual income. That's why we do this. We don't do this for $820, even though it's important. That's not why it's worth. We did this launch party on Saturday night, and you're not going to give up your Saturday night for $820. Well, I would, but I go into you share, they share, repeat, because that's duplicatable. And then I went through the cycles. I asked everyone my new favorite thing. I learned it in. I don't think it was anyone. No, that's not the right way. I just learned it. I read a post in ANZ, and I asked everyone if you could take one bill in your life and not have to worry about it ever again, what would it be? And I went around and got everyone, and people were saying daycare, bills, their mortgage, rent, phone bill. And then after I drew the cycles, I linked it back to their bills. I said, Mary, you know how much is your childcare? $240, I think it was, a week. This is how you'd be able to create a residual income for yourself where you can have $240 coming into your bank account every week, and that's going straight to your childcare and tithing like that. So that's a launch party. The launch party itself goes for probably, well, the first part literally goes for 20 minutes. The business stuff goes for 15 minutes, but I can't leave any earlier than 2 hours because everyone stays, everyone chats, all that kind of stuff. That's a launch party.
That's all.
How I do.
That's cool.
That's brilliant, Jacko. Catch just wrote, how does Jacko explain cycle simply? Obviously, you're not going to do it here without the whiteboard and stuff like that. I don't know if you've got a video that you've ever done it on in your team page or anything.
Your buckets.
But if you decide to do it, if you end up deciding to do it, if you share it up into Leaders in Action, that'd be gold. Next time you have a launch party or something like that, maybe get it recorded.
I do. I made a video. It's a bit outdated now. I made a video a few months ago, and I literally went through. I counted there's 17 different ways we get paid in Isagenix, and I literally made a video and went through each one. Bruce has posted it. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a separate one. But what's Bruce posted? What did I click?
Who knows?
Never mind. I think Bruce has posted it. So, boom, that's how I do it. I don't know if it's the greatest, but it's simple and it's how I learnt it. So I just share with people how I learnt it.
Awesome, man.
Hey, dude, you're flying over to Perth to do launch parties, and seriously, like, you're here, there, and everywhere. You're showing up, at all these different events. Why? I mean, at the moment, you're earning a decent income, as we said.
You're on around that 7-figure mark. It's all right.
Why are you working harder now than we've ever seen you ever work? Like, what's going on for Jackson?
Or you're still working as hard anyway. Like, you've always worked hard. Like, you're not slowing down. Why? I like that.
What keeps you going?
Organic cat food is not cheap. That's why. No. So why I work hard, I kind of share this at Celebration, but I just genuinely enjoy this. It's like, even though I know I'm not going to the NBA, I still love to go and shoot and dribble and play one-on-one and scrimmage because I just love playing basketball. I love Isagenix. I love talking to people. I love helping people. I love helping people hit a rank for the first time. I love helping people win Isa Derby. I love helping people retire. I just love it. The other reason is I know I definitely have the financial freedom and I've helped a lot of people hit their goals, but there are also people in my team that haven't hit their goals yet. And even though technically I could, I'm going to Thailand this week. I think this will be my first holiday that's non-Isagenix related in 4 years. So going with my partner, and technically I could spend the rest of my life there drinking cocktails. Because I have the financial freedom, it still wouldn't be freedom to me because I would know deep down that, Tim's not where he wants to be yet, and Morgan's not where he wants to be yet, and Reese isn't where he wants to be yet, and Ben and Bryony aren't where they want to be yet, and that's just not freedom to me. I could do it for a week or two. I wouldn't be able to do it. It would just eat my soul up. And then the other reason I work so hard is because it will never, ever be it's so easy to do this business in general. It takes a lot of work and effort and energy, but it's not that hard once you put in the time to learn it. And even more so, the timing of everything. It will never be this easy to grow Isagenix. Just Asia hasn't even hit the surface yet. We're just about to launch in the UK. Here in Australia and New Zealand, I know one of the main reasons I've rank advanced so much lately is because everyone else in Isagenix is so obsessed with the UK that they're all taking their eyes off Australia and New Zealand, and I'm just cleaning it up. So it will never be this easy. They're still growing in America. We're just so young. It's like, I used Amway before. Imagine being in Amway when they were 15 years old. yes, please. And so that's why I still work this hard, because I originally had the plan when I was 35 I'd stop, but I know I won't, because I just love it so much. But Alan would probably be able to share this more than me because he knows the numbers, but it would just never be this easy. And I don't want to have that conversation. I talk to myself a lot, and I don't want to have that conversation with myself in 5 years, 10 years, where it's like, Jackson, you were at the right place at the right time and you did jack shit about it. And I don't want to have that regret. I don't want to have that conversation with myself that it was all there in front of me and I chose to watch movies instead, or I chose to watch TV, or I chose to whatever it is that's going to distract me. So that's, you add them all up. That's why I still kind of work so hard. Yeah.
It's awesome, Jacko. It's awesome. You got the final question now?
All right, Jacko, we'll hit you with the final question. I know we were going to open this up, but you're sharing too much gold, so we really, really appreciate it. Final question for you is that every single person on this call, we're just pretending, we're throwing it out there that you'll never, ever see anyone on this call ever again, and you are desperate to ensure that all 75 people on this call succeed. They have every possibility to reach Platinum Millionaire. Obviously, it's still up to them, but you want to give them the best that you possibly can. What are the 3 pieces of advice, or could be, if it's a couple more, whatever, but let's say 3 pieces of advice that you would give everyone on this call leaving this call now?
Whenever I get asked that, my first response is, my first thing, it's like, if I ever got given a genie, my first wish would be, I wish for more wishes, kind of thing. And so if I could only tell you 1 or 2 things, my first thing I would tell you is to get to every event you physically can, because that's almost like me giving you 100 different things, because you're going to go to, so next month is David Wood. You go to that event, you're going to get 1,000 different things, and then you go to the next event and you'll get more advice and more advice. So events are my number 1 thing. I know it's what I'm very good at, is getting to events and bringing people to events and letting the event do the work for me. I don't do the work, the event does the work. My other honest advice, which was, I think it was Michael Klaus. I wish I could give people the credit they deserve, but he kind of said, it was Eric Warwick. He said, and I believe it, he said, either do this 100% or don't do it at all. And he said that middle ground is torture. And so there's 75 people on this call. I don't want anyone to be tortured. Either do this 100% and be all in. 100% doesn't mean be a millionaire this year. It's not a speed. It doesn't mean 100% in speed. It just means 100% with commitment. And either do this, be all in, no bridge behind you, nothing like that, and you will be successful and you'll have fun doing it, or don't do it at all. And don't get on these calls. Don't spend money to go to an event, and just live your life, watch the movies that you enjoy and all that stuff. Because he talks about that middle ground is just torture, because you're getting on the calls and you're hearing these success stories and you're hearing all this, but because you're not 100% committed, you're not doing the work to have your own success story. So then you compare yourself and you beat yourself up. Or you go to these events and you see all these people going across the stage, and you're committed enough to be at the event to see these things, but you're not committed enough to spend 10 hours in your car listening to the podcast and learn the skills to be on stage. And then you compare yourself, beat yourself up, blah, 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 blah. So my other big advice would just be 100% with it. It doesn't mean time. It just means if you've only got 5 hours a week, give it 100%, or literally don't do it at all. Because it can be, network marketing can be painful when you're half in. It can be very painful because you're not, like I said, you're not putting in the time, the effort and the energy to learn how to speak to people properly. but you do go speak to people properly because you're half in, and you do it really bad and it sucks, and it's not a good experience, and you just experience all that middle ground. So those would be the two things I would say. Yeah.
You got three. You've got three.
One more wish.
Three.
It's 9 o'clock and he's like, I'm expired.
Three. No, I want to give you a good one. Events. Right now, and this isn't, I'm getting no commission for this. I would book an event to David Wood next month in Sydney. So a lot of things have helped me grow my business, but I know the turning point for me was actually it was in Sydney. So I was a month in. I was a month into Isagenix. I think I was still manager. So I went manager my first week and then was still manager a month later. And I read GoPro and it said the highest paid skill in network marketing is to get to events. So I looked at the next event. It was in Sydney. I didn't have the money to go to Sydney, but I'm not telling you to do this, but I also am. I'm not telling you to put on your credit card like I did, but I'm telling you to find a way. And I flew down. I was in the dirtiest hotel. If you've been to an event, you kind of remember when the event's over, you all leave and people in sections go to their different hotels. I was the only one that went back to my hotel because it was so dirty. I wouldn't shower because it was disgusting. But it didn't matter because I got there. And that was my first experience of an event. That was my first. I never even knew what personal development was until that event. And that weekend was when, how I said at the start, I didn't think it would work for me, but I also didn't think it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
When I left that event, that was when I knew. I didn't think I'd be a millionaire and all that stuff, but I knew I could make $1,000 a week. I just knew it because he taught me all the skills. He helped me release some baggage that I was holding on to that was making up stories why I couldn't succeed. And we all have that same baggage. It's all that baggage we all have when we go into an elevator and we all look at the ground because we're weirdos, because we're conditioned and we've got all these baggage. So help me let go of that crap. And so that would be my third advice. David Wood in Sydney next month, sorry. That would be my third piece of advice.
And the big key here, I suppose, Jacko, with you sharing that as well, is that I know for a fact that once that event is sold out, they've got a maximum capacity. I think it's 800. And when you think about the fact that there's somewhere between 80 and 90,000, whatever it is, associates in Australia, they've got 800. And there is zero chance they are changing that venue. It is too hard in Sydney. So if you got a ticket, and you got a few for your team that join in the next month. You got tickets for them. If you don't, you don't, and it's going to be a miss out. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's why all our major events aren't in Sydney, because events there are it's a nightmare to get rooms and stuff like that. So he's not come on, mate.
After this one, everyone's got to wait until the end of November to do it again. So it's you're 6
too long.
The game, too long to wait. Mate, I want to say a big thank you. Catch actually just private messaged me, and I'm going to share it on here. He said he just actually private messaged me. It's a big one, is to say this is the first call that I'm literally sending everyone in capitals. It's the best call ever. So, and I think it's super practical for people that are brand new or people that are wanting to really get this game going. So, mate, from the bottom of our hearts, it seriously has been. I think what you've shared is just anyone can really listen to this and take it and use it and grow their business. So
thanks, Jacko.
You are awesome.
So much.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Hold on before you go.
Cats in the photo, Jacko.
Go and get your cats. I'm gonna just press stop because we need to take our cat photos. Hold on. Anyone else has got a cat?
If anybody else has got cats, go get your cat quick. All your cats. Oh, people are